death, taxes, and the Dolphins eventually imploding. This has been a gigantic issue. Jaylen Waddle this morning just got traded to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos got the wide receiver one, and then in exchange, they lose their first round pick and some extras. That's going to be really interesting. That's the biggest headliner for today. Whoa, what a trade. What a freaking trade, yo. That's crazy to think about. Jaylen Waddle is now gone. And this team has lost so many guys to Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick, Tyreek Hill, obviously Jaylen Waddle now, OBJ. All these guys, Jason Sanders, like all these guys have just left. And this team, what seemed to be a playoff team 2 or 3 years ago in 2023, Tyreek Hill had that crazy season where he put up a monstrous amount of fantasy points. I know there's more to football than just fantasy, but there is a lot of fantasy points. Now it's all gone. And it's all blown up, and that's so interesting to talk about now. On the Broncos' perspective, they get the wide receiver one that they really lacked. That's gonna be a real issue for whatever team plays them now, because they just have a lot of weapons too. I think I know he did have a little bit of an issue, Bo Nix, with his weapons, and his wide receivers weren't the greatest. Courtland Sutton is awesome for this team. He wasn't a wide receiver one on caliber in my eyes. Jaylen Waddle can be. Jaylen Waddle has so much flexibility, which kind of felt like the Casey Conception role I had for them. I feel like I had mocked Casey Conception more often than I didn't for some of these times. Maybe beside defensive tackle, because they don't have a great defensive tackle, but they could probably get one later in the rounds. That's really good. They didn't lose the second round pick. They did lose the first round, but they didn't lose the second round pick. They maybe get a second round pick. Defensive tackle there, because the defensive tackle class isn't that bad. Maybe you can get it in the 4th round. Maybe you can get someone like an undersized guy, maybe like Zane Durant, who is pretty good. He's very athletic. He's a little undersized. You can get someone like that, and this honestly, his defense doesn't need much more. I like the Alex Singleton signing. That was a fine signing. I think this team really didn't need a lot of rework in the defensive side of the ball. Opposite side of the ball was a little bit of an issue. I feel like Bo Nix was making the most with what he had. I wasn't a big fan of Courtland Sutton. Troy Franklin's okay. Pat Bryant was okay. Marvin Mims was okay. Little Jordan Humphrey was a practice squad guy for the Giants, which they got off of waivers because he has had Sean Payton connections. Evan Ingram isn't a bad one. I think people are saying he might be replaced. I think if Kenyon Sadiq falls, he'd be pretty good, but I don't think he will after how he tested. Adam Trauman's a good blocking tight end. Nick Atkins, Lucas Krull, whatever. Interesting schemes, and I think for the Dolphins' perspective, they kind of needed to, but they just have so much money in dead cap, which really makes me concerned a little bit in the long run. That makes a big issue moving forward. I think this team could realistically maybe need another wide receiver in the draft. For their needs. It's a little interesting. It's a very interesting topic to talk about, because the main reason is that this team needs a wide receiver, and that's going to be a big issue and a big topic to talk about. It's interesting. It's really interesting. I think this team can really use a wide receiver. I think there's more needs though, and I think you can get, because the wide receiver class is very deep. You can get someone like a Denzel Boston or Omar Cooper Jr. or a Casey Conception in the back end of the first round, or that area. This team, honestly, it needs more. It needs more. I think Mansour, if he falls, you take Mansour. I think Dylan Thielen, he falls, I think you should definitely heavily consider that. Spencer Fano, Vega Ione. Those guys are some guys you can maybe consider. Or you can take Carl Tate, Jordan Tyson, or McCallum. There's a lot of areas this team can go to, and I think this is how this draft class is suited. It might be a little bit better for you to take a corner later, or corner now, and a wide receiver later, because the wide receiver class is very good. I think this wide receiver class probably one of the best position groups in this draft class. Corner isn't that bad either. I just prefer the drop off for wide receiver a little bit more than I do the drop off for corner. And safety as well. Safety, the drop off was very bad too. So I think you should take a safety or a corner here. I think that makes a little more sense for me. I think Dante Trader Jr. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think you can get him out of there. I think Zane Anderson is also a guy you can get out of there too as well. I don't know. I just think that this team needs a lot more, and I'm like I said, I'm not feeling confident in this team. Obviously, they're in a rebuilding stage. Devon Achane, Malik Willis, Malik Washington's wide receiver one. Just no way in how he should be. Jalen Tolbert, Dallas Cowboys legend, I guess. Jesus Christ. Interesting. Not a great signing. Interesting. He's not going to be a wide receiver too. I don't like Tutu Atwell. Also another Rams legend. Interesting area to talk about as well. I'm again not very, very excited for that either. Interesting areas to talk about. I think this would be a definitely big task for a rebuild, and we're gonna go through the trade details in totality. It's really bad. Like it really is bad. And as much as I would love to say that this is a bad move, it really isn't a bad move though. I think I would prefer a prefer less dead money, but again, you can't really blame them for getting rid of him. I think it's just not a bad idea. The Denver Broncos received Jaylen Waddle, Dolphins 4th round pick this year, 11th in the 4th round, and for the Miami they get 1st round pick, 30th overall. They get a late 3rd and late 4th this year. I would have liked maybe a 2nd, but again, 3rd and 4th isn't bad either. You can get some guys there you can really enjoy. So that's not a bad idea. It really isn't a bad idea. I think for a perspective standpoint for the Broncos, this makes so much more sense because, again, you get your wide receiver 1. You also get Jaylen Waddle, who's the speedy type of guy. He can be a bailout for Bo Nix if you need him to. And it's a good compliment to this team, which really didn't have that speedy type guy I felt really confident in. I guess you can put, not really, I mean, maybe Marvin Mims in that role. But, again, Marvin Mims is no Jaylen Waddle. And I think Jaylen Waddle would be awesome for this team regardless. I think this team would really like this pick at all. For as much as I'm clowning on the Dolphins, it kind of makes sense. It really does because, again, you got to move on from Jaylen Waddle. He didn't want to be there. You're not going to be anywhere competitive. I think other than Jaylen Waddle, I think Devon Achane was definitely a contention of being traded. A lot of moving areas to talk about. Now let's move on to the dead cap, which is a big problem. I'm going to list off all the guys who have dead cap. So they have $175 million over dead cap. $50+ million in this season. $50+ million for Tyreek Hill, $28.2 million. Jaylen Waddle, $26.3 million. Jalen Ramsey, $20.9 million. Minka Fitzpatrick, $13 million. Bradley Chubb, $10 million. Teron Armstead, $10.7 million. James Daniels, $4.8 million. Zach Wilson, $3.8 million. Alec Ingold, $2.0 million. Nick Westbrook-Akine, $1.6 million. Jonathan Smith, $1.7 million. Matthew Judon, $1.4 million. Jason Sanders, $6.63K. Cam Smith, $528K. Muhammad Kamara, $160K. That's just poor contract giving out. And literally just shows how bad the old GM was before he got fired, before John Eric Sullivan. And Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan have a hell of a task ahead of him. They're in for a rude rebuild, and this will be a tough task. I think they can do it, but again, a tough task, and I know a rebuild is a rebuild. You're eventually going to get there. But Malik Willis is, again, he's going to struggle. He's not going to have the weapons he did in Green Bay, regardless of whatever it is. He's not going to have the offensive line in Green Bay. He might not even have the defense in Green Bay. That's a big issue, and that's going to be a real area and topic to discuss about. That's going to be a real issue. It really is, and this team needs it. Now for my grades, this is another interesting area to talk about. I think I'm going to start with the Broncos because I really like this move for them. They get Jaylen Waddle, and they get some draft capital back in the 4th round pick. I don't hate this pick at all. I think this would be pretty good. I think this team would really like this 4th round pick also, but I think Jaylen Waddle obviously is the headline. I would give this an A for the Broncos. I'm a very optimistic trade person. I think an A would be awesome for this team. I think this team gets the wide receiver 1 in the future, gets a weapon for Bo Nix, and they're really in that area where they can do it. And I think Sean Payton will kind of use him very well in the scheme, and I think this team would really like Jaylen Waddle here. I really like this. I mean, honestly, from top to bottom, this team looks nasty, and I think just in general, yeah, like you really want this. I know they got rid of Dre Greenlaw, but other than that, I like their re-signings. I like their investments. I also like investing in Jaylen Waddle. I really do. And I think this team would really, really enjoy Jaylen Waddle here. The Dolphins side, it's not as highly praised. It's a C+, mainly because of, again, the cuts, right? The cuts is a big problem. That's all the dead money. Like, you're not going to spend this. You're really not. You don't have the money to spend this. And you've also seen them with the Saints. The Saints had a bunch of dead money in the last couple of years. And then they had to draft well. They had to not spend that much, and the team was stuck in mediocrity or really poorness for the last 5 or 6 years. That's a big problem. It really is. And the Dolphins might be in a similar situation, not for too long. It really is bad. Like it's just really bad. I don't know. I just think this is really bad for this team. Regardless, you're going to have to move on, so I think that makes the most sense, but regardless, it's still going to be bad for that money. I mean, it really is. So I think a C+ is perfect. I mean, you had to do it. It's kind of like digging in, right? It's kind of like knowing you have to do something, but you really don't want to. And that's what they had to do. And I applaud them for that. They're really starting fresh. They're really making this their own regime. Props up to Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan, but again, it's really tough for this team. And this team, again, really, really didn't like it. Really didn't, I don't know, just... The old regime really threw out contracts like it was money, and that's a big problem. I know you want to overpay for a quarterback, but I don't think Tua Tagovailoa deserves $50+ million. Same with an aging Tyreek Hill. Same with an aging Bradley Chubb. Same with an aging Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is doing fine in the Steelers, but again, it's an overpay. It really blew up, and I really thought the Dolphins 2023, when they had a great season, I was really hoping they would continue this trend. Now it's really bad. So. It sucks, but it's the right move. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this trade. I have an A and a C+. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.